Well, I mean, given Democratic intransigence, what options do you think President Trump has? I mean, especially on immigration, for example, which he has made a staple of his campaign in 2016 and moving forward into 2020. What recommendations would you give to the president, given that the Democrats won't even give him the funding necessary to provide beds for the people who are crossing the border illegally?
I think the president's making a strong argument that is real. Remember, his number one job is to protect the people of this country. And my parents came here legally. They put in the time, they put in the price, they had to work to get here. They are offended by anyone that comes here illegally. And that's the thing is, if you talk to legal immigrants, they sacrifice to be here for the benefits of being here. If you don't follow the rules to get here, why would you follow the laws when you're here? And that's the part that they have to understand. Immigrants are the fabric of America. It's what makes us great. We need as many immigrants as we can. We need the skills, we need the talent, we need the culture, we need all of that. But we're a country of laws. And the second you give up being a country of laws, you've lost everything this country was founded on. And so if you don't like something that's happening, fix it. We can't have 100,000 people last month on the US-Mexico border and then sit there and say, do we let them go? Do we not let them go? Where do we keep? I mean, it's a debate that really needs to stop. All we're talking about is processes. All we're talking about is the fact that we need to know who's here, where they're from, and have we done the background check? And I think when it comes to asylum seekers, and this is a good example from South Carolina. In South Carolina, we were part of a federal refugee program, like many states in the country. And that's where you take the persecuted. That's where you take those that are in fear of their life in other countries. But my husband was deployed to Afghanistan for a year. His unit, when they came home, the first thing they cared about were those 2 interpreters that kept them safe all year. And they knew that if they stayed, they would die. That refugee program allowed them to go through the process, come here. They're now both working, have their families contributing back. It can work. If you remember, all this debate started with the Syrian refugees a few years ago. And I remember as governor calling the FBI director, then James Comey, and saying, tell me, how are the Syrian refugees any different than what we have here? He said, we literally have no information on them. He said, I have no background, I have no family, I have no history, nothing. Well, at that point, I said, South Carolina is not going to participate in this because you can't allow people to come in that you don't know anything about them. And so that's what this is asylum seekers. It's not that we don't feel for them. It's not that we don't hurt for them. I can actually tell you the U.S. combined with the UN, the U.S. led with the UN, we had teams along the caravan borders to give health care and safety because we were worried about the lives of those people. We were worried about trafficking. We were worried about many of them were getting sick. So, it's not that we don't care. It's the fact that we have to protect American citizens first and then go through the processes of doing that. For anyone that doesn't want the immigration rules to come into play, how else do we protect the country? That's our job. That's what we have to do. And so literally, this is one of those Congress, get in a room, figure it out. I think the president's done all he could possibly do. He's pointed out the facts. He's said it's a crisis. He's literally given it to them. And we need Republicans and Democrats to say, time to get to work. I mean, at some point, the president can only do so much. This is a congressional thing. And I think that we have to put a lot of weight on that and put the pressure on them. He can talk about it. He can bring the issues up. He can do what few executive orders he can do. But at the end of the day, the American people have to put the pressure on Congress to say, this is a priority for us. It may not be for you, but it is for us.